Connections. We were initially founded by a couple of members of the community that saw that there was a gap in the needs of children who were kind of in the system. Mayor Pat Morris, the late Jack Brown, as well as A. Gary Anderson, were all really instrumental in making sure that they had a vision for how to fill the gaps where our kids weren't being served in the way that they should be served, right? There were services that existed for children that were in the system or being met with social workers. However, there shouldn't be a 3-month delay on getting a kid a bed, and there shouldn't be there shouldn't be so much red tape. So they created an organization that was actually a part of the county called Children's Fund in 1986. And then what happened was we ultimately began to expand our services in such a way that we were able to set up an independent structure, still maintaining that relationship with the county, but an independent structure here in this office where around 5 to 6 years ago, we were able to essentially operate as an independent nonprofit would, which again, cut through a lot more of the red tape to be able to get the needs of the kids wherever that need is. Our two top priorities are responding to children in crisis and breaking the cycle. We want to make sure that we're not just meeting the need where it occurs, but also thinking about where that need comes from. We want to be advocates for kids, but we also want to make sure that we're right there in the trenches with them wherever they have that need. And so there are 3 ways that I'll pass over a few sheets to you here. There are 3 ways that we like to describe our mission. So our overall mission is giving vulnerable children support, opportunity, and hope by breaking destructive cycles through community partnerships. Now, the 3 words for us that stand out the most are the words support, opportunity, and hope. Those can be kind of general things for people, but for us, we are able to hone in on what that means to us and wanted to share that with you as well. So on the support end, we talk about emergency needs as something that just kind of helps, as I mentioned, meet the need wherever the need is occurring. So if it's a bed, if it's a blanket, if it's a backpack, there are other things that don't start with B, but those are the first things that just came to mind. We just try to get creative with them. I mean, gosh, I was just going to say braces. Okay, yeah.
Bandages?
Yeah, okay, books, yeah.
Bandages, don't try
No, it's really amazing because we have this ability to be so flexible and creative with whatever the need might be for a child. Every case is unique, every case is different. So we don't create this idea that we're going to have the ultimate solution for any one kid. We're so adaptable, so flexible to whatever the needs are. That's one of my favorite things about this organization. And then we do care campaigns throughout the year. That could be something like sending a kid to camp. It could be a backpack. It could be a holiday program. At the end of the year, we are supporting over 30,000 children with toys that have been in some part of the system or in some part of our database or partnering groups. So there's a lot being done to make sure that we reinforce the value of the children that we serve. And that's kind of, that's a major point for us because we've worked with law enforcement who have said, they have worked with some pretty traumatic situations for children. And one of the most positive things you can do is help change their psyche around their worth and their value with the simplest things, right? It feels like it's just a blanket, it feels like it's just a backpack, but for the kids, when we're doing these emergency needs, sometimes it's the first time they've received that sort of support, or the first time they realize that maybe they're worth something. So that's a big deal for us, that section. Then on the opportunity end, we know that a lot of youth are very well aware that education is kind of their doorway into whatever the next step might be, right? Literacy is tied into so much. Scholarships for advancement at the university level is such a big deal for them, and they're very well aware of that. So we had a youth come into us the other day who had received scholarships and said that she knew that this group Children's Fund was the group that was behind her and believing in her, no matter how many transitions she had going on in her life. So for us, we think about opportunity as something that is really going to help them move forward from wherever they are, right? Support is kind of meeting the need where it occurs, and opportunity is about moving them forward. We also are proud to say that our mentoring programs are tied into a lot of peer-to-peer structures so that the foster youth who are entering the college level are not overwhelmed with this feeling of loneliness that they might feel when they get there because they don't fit in the way that in the way that other kids might be fitting in. So there's a peer-to-peer mentoring component to our foster youth programs as they enter into the college level. And then lastly, many of you probably have heard about the Children's Assessment Center, but for those of you who haven't, we find that this is a place where children are least likely to be in a place of hope. They have on many occasions been taught to believe that they're worth less because they've been abused, neglected, or subjected to something they shouldn't be subjected to. And what happens there is we give them a little bit of space and freedom for them to be able to tell their story, both on a personal, empowering level, but also so that we can get the medical and forensic, interviews done so that we can help them move into a safer place. So in that situation, we have a dog named Mac who's kind of famous, right? He has his own trading cards, actually. And
he's a big sheep.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yes.
So cute.
He's actually, he wasn't intended to be. He's not really a therapy, the mold of a therapy dog, but the kids love him, and he fits perfectly over there. So we have a stuffed animal sheepdog that the kids get to take with them after they leave, which is a really cute and fun thing for them. And I'll say my favorite story actually over at the assessment center is still the story of a girl who could not look and talk to any of the adults, but was able to sit there and look at Mac and realize, okay, this is somebody who's not going to hurt her, right? And then she got this confidence to go in and finish her interview. So we do a lot over there to make sure that the youth have their own individual chance to tell their story. And the important thing is that before the assessment center existed, the kids were actually circulated through around 8 or 9 different places where they had to continue to retell their story and relive that trauma. And so we've really centralized the efforts for them so that it makes it easier for them to move forward and actually makes it easier for all of us to be able to serve them. So we're proud of that. It's one of the few in the country that's set up with a medical focus in that way for kids that have been abused and neglected. So I also wanted to, as a gift, pass along these fact cards, which are just a reminder. I heard just a few minutes ago that there's an all-star in our bone marrow group who keeps her card. We need one. Oh yeah, sure. You can have one too, Barbara. You can have an extra one.
One in my purse.
So many of our members have said, okay, we want to know kind of the context of what the need is. Not just the spiel and the messaging from your organization, but really where the need is and why you're serving who you're serving. So on this side, you see a little, on the other side of our mission and vision side of the card, you see a little bit about how many cases are reported of abuse every day, the likelihood of a foster youth graduating from a four-year university, how many children are at risk, and when we talk about the poverty levels increasing their chances of experiencing these sorts of traumas, and then you have some numbers of ways that we're serving and meeting that need. And so that way, just a point of reference, so as you're talking to people about what you're involved in and what you're doing, you have a better idea of who we are. I think that I've covered most of the general bases, but one of the things that I will say that I always try to underline with anybody, if you remember nothing else about Children's Fund, is that what makes us unique is that we are not we're not just meeting the need on the day that need occurs. Throughout a child's growth, they will be served around 3 to 4 times on average from Children's Fund. So what that means is that they, with many different nonprofit structures, they help that kid with the backpack at that time, or they help that kid with the braces at that time, or they help that kid with whatever their need is at that time. But because we are so well tied into the county and social workers and nonprofit partners to be able to continue on with following up with whatever the cases of need might be as they grow, these youth finally have somebody who they can kind of count on throughout their entire span of their growth. It's just pretty unique and special, and we're really able to do that thanks to partners like Bone Marrow. So, yeah, are there any questions about the organization?
So you work directly with CPS and police. And
Exactly.
Okay, that's
yeah.
my question. Like, how are you getting to everybody?
Yeah, well, fortunately, we had that structure starting off within the county, which
Okay.
is so unique. I mean, people, people are always asking about how we're so well tied in to all these different structures, and it's because we started within the county. So yeah, the county advocates, the social workers,
I mean, because
CPS.
I know you can't directly walk in without having,
Exactly.
so, yeah.
Exactly. Which makes which makes the advocacy and fundraising component of what Bone Mare does extremely important, because you can't just have people in the same way you might be able to do it kind of a playful setting for a nonprofit. These are very delicate situations that youth are in. So we can't have everybody come do a tour while the kids are being seen over at the CAC, and we can't necessarily have you sit in for a meeting with the social
Well,
worker.
no, I was just curious how you got to the children. Like,
Yeah.
How do you get to the children? Through CPS, through.
The
Right.
assessment center,
Yeah.
most of it, isn't it? Like,
So
Well,
they
social
bring-
workers,
So
the
they
social
bring them to
workers.
the
Oh,
assessment
oh.
center, social workers bring them, and the police and all that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I
Yeah.
have a client that is a social worker that,
Okay.
we raise Christmas toys and stuff for him every single year, so.
Oh, nice.
We just
nice.
hand them to him because we know
Yeah.
you're not allowed to go there.
yeah,
Right,
exactly.
So that's
Are
just
they
how it
with
was.
San Bernardino County?
Actually, he's with Riverside.
Okay. Okay.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're in San Bernardino County, the largest county in the country, so
Yeah.
the need just gets, when we first started, like for the social workers, it was huge to come up with 1,800 gifts. We are now over 7,000.
There was 62.
6783 last year.
6783 last year.
Exactly.
So you're the
I was
numbers.
Wow. That's pretty good.
I think we're at 57.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
We're at
I was just kinda
5,700
curious how you
this
got
year.
to
We're a
the
little bit
No, I
less this
appreciate
year,
that.
but it's
A lot of people don't think
fluctuates.
about that technical component of how difficult that can be
Yeah.
to.
Well, you're not, you can't just go, I mean, you can't just walk around campus and give away backpacks. We raise
Exactly.
those too, we just hand them to schools and they can do their.
Right,
I mean,
Yeah.
there's-
right.
Well, and once you're a member, next week, at the beginning of fall, we almost always try to do a tour of the assessment center, and it's really, really moving.
It is.
Where is it?
Yeah, it's on Gilbert and
It's over by the hospital.
700. Yeah, I know the address. I don't know what's around it outside.
The
of that.
hospital is,
Okay.
is over there.
Okay.
Thanks.
But it's beautiful in there. If you ever get a chance to,
Like for
to go.
Names or-
Yeah, by
I'm
St.
sorry.
Bernardine's,
By
yeah.
St. Bernardine's, yes. By St.
Yeah, well, you
Bernardine's.
can't just go there, I mean.
Yeah.
But
It's
I mean, we do it, and it's pretty.
It's an amazing facility when you
Yeah.
actually do a tour of it. It's like, wow, they have like a kitchen for the kids to cook in. There's exam rooms, there's places for them to play.
It's bright and colorful.
It's very,
It's like
it
a
feels
model
like
in
it's
the country. There's
safe
like-
for them because they have, the way they have it set up, it's just really neat.
Well, the premise is the kids, like Nicholas said, instead of going to the police and then this and all this, they get everyone together in one room behind a screen the kids can't see, and then they interview them once, so they don't have to tell it over and over.
Oh,
I mean, it's just pretty, and some of these kids are just horrible, and so they don't need that, it's pretty amazing people that work there. I don't know how they aren't crying all day,
Yeah, I think that they have some pretty thick skin that they've built. The one thing that I will say from a technical standpoint of workers that are coming over to the CAC and what happens after that point, one of the things that we had clarified actually in a recent discussion with the CAC in terms of how we can best meet the needs specifically for that part of the program side. They're out of the 1,800 children that they serve in a year. There's more that they can serve, but they have a medical need beyond what they have a need for a forensic pediatrician there, which sometimes our one single forensic pediatrician over there can't handle.
Teenager children, yes.
Exactly. But what happens after that point, around half of them actually will go into a kinship or something that relates to just their own independent care providers, which then they get tied into nonprofit partners that we're associated with. So our work with nonprofit partners for those, let's say 900 kids, helps meet some of the needs of those youth, and then the other around half of those youth, the 900 others, will go into some form of foster care, and then our work with the social workers and foster system will help that portion of them. So we're always trying to think of new ways that we can meet the need and getting new information about what the statistics are, what the numbers are at. But it's around 1,800 kids that we serve over there each year. We're actually aiming to help better fill that gap as we get more people involved from a medical standpoint.
Good. Any other questions for Nick and the children's fund side of things at this point? Okay, thank you so much,
Awesome.
Nick.
Yeah.